So y'all, I just had to hop in my car real quick. Well, I actually just came from lunch. So I'm like, let me record a quick video. But I just wanted to tap in and have a conversation around, I think that's something that a lot of women tend to struggle with. There's men too, obviously, but I think that especially as us women, I figure we get ourselves out of this hole or this rat race and we start to understand things more about ourselves, that we will start to see better results in our lives. So for anyone who's new to my channel, my name is Shanvira K. Shepherd. So I talk all things self-help or personal development to transform our lives so that we can help others. Now, there's like 5 key elements to emotional intelligence. So I know we hear that word being flopped around so much. And if you in these internet streets, I'm sure you hear a lot of people talking about emotional intelligence, but a lot of people not really understanding emotional intelligence. I mean, you can Google the 5 key elements that are a part of emotional intelligence. But one thing that I think that a lot of people sleep on, and one that I feel like it provides the groundwork to all the other ones, is self-awareness. And that's basically just saying, like, who are you, right? Who am I? But I think even when it comes to that, you can ask yourself that question. A lot of times people may get confused, or they may not know, like, know how to answer that question. They may not know what to say. And it's a lot of things that can define who we are, right? A lot of times we might think of our occupation. So we might say, oh, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a teacher. Or you might think about you being a mother or a caregiver. I'm a mother, I'm a wife. It's so many different things. When we think about who we are, it's more of like external things. We talk about accomplishments, degrees, and again, where we are, societal standing, or who we are in our personal lives. Maybe you're a friend, your daughter, whatever. So we tend to think about those things. But when we break down who we are, even if you break down those concepts, it's still certain things about you that allows you to show up in those spaces or allow people to gravitate to you. And so that gets into more of the innate things, the internal things about yourself. So the way that you think, your emotions or your feelings and your actions, all of those contribute to being self-aware. And so I just want to touch on just a few things that I think will help you kind of align yourself with being able to determine that and understand. Because sometimes we tend to do all of these things, right? We go to work every day. We are, again, a mother or a spouse or a caregiver to parents. Again, we're friends, whatever it is. And so we tend to do these things, but a lot of times it's in our nature because we do it all the time. And so it just seems like mundane. We do it all the time. It's nothing. It's like I do it like the back of my hand. And so I don't think that a lot of times we have put so much thought into it. And sometimes we have put so much emphasis and thought into things that actually do not even matter, or have placed value on things that actually does not matter. And I think that is what's one of the things that is important, is understanding like things that are actually important and things that matter in your life, or even understanding the why behind why you do certain things, or the why behind certain decisions or goals that you want to make, or a life that you want to live. But I think there's 3 things that at least has helped me that could help somebody else. And one of them is understanding your strengths and weaknesses. And I think that once you get to this understanding of your strengths and your weaknesses, this is going to help you out a lot, because this is going to help you, one, if you know your weaknesses, that'll help you improve. And then as far as your strengths, you can use your strengths to your advantage. There are so many strengths and what they call strengths tests that you can take that'll help you develop or cultivate. Maybe if you don't have the understanding of what your strengths and weaknesses are, sometimes the company that you work for, I know when I worked in insurance, or as I worked in customer service, I think we did like a strengths finder test or something like that. As a matter of fact, I think my former boss had given me an actual book. To be honest, I don't think I read the book, but we did like different activities and stuff at work. So if you're working at corporate or you work for some type of company, sometimes they will do certain strength tests and stuff like that to help you figure that out. But all in all, I mean, you can do this on your own. Again, there's certain tests that you can take that will help you figure out what those strengths and weaknesses are. Sometimes you can even identify these things in your life as you're going throughout your day-to-day. Sometimes asking your loved ones or the people around you, your spouse, maybe your kids will tell you certain things, right? Parents, friends, your close loved ones, a lot of times they will be able to point out things to help you be able to determine what your strengths and weaknesses are. Now, one important thing, this is like one of the most important things that I did, was introspection, or I'll say self-reflection. And that was just, I went all the way back to like childhood, and I started like just mapping out certain things that happened in my life, or certain things that happened, just trying to understand, you know, the things that made me who I am, the family that I come from. So like my mom and my dad, I didn't grow up in a 2-parent household. So, you know, I had to really navigate that space from when I lived with my mother at some point, moved out from with her when I was like 14, moved in with my dad. Then I had experiences or things going on there. And so there was different transition of things that happened in my life, you know, for the first, like, you know, 18 years. And then from there, I started to cultivate like that next like 10-year mark in my life, you know, when I graduated high school. So from like 18 to like, you know, I'll say 25 or so, I started to, you know, map out like what had happened during that period of time of my life. You know, just to name a few, I, you know, graduated high school, went to college, tried college at least a few times, never worked for me. And I had 3 kids. I have a daughter and twin boys. So I just started like mapping out all of these things that were happening during that time, jobs that I've worked at, and you know, and just thinking about all of the different experiences and all the things that kind of happened in my life. I mean, I wasn't getting down to the nitty gritty, all the way down to a piece of grain of salt, but I was highlighting like kind of like high level things that were going on, or feelings that I have had. There's at a point in time in my life where I think I faulted myself for decisions that I had made, and felt like, hey, I'm not where I want to be because of these decisions. And so I had to come into fruition with a lot of the things, or come into amends or make amends with my past. And that was the point of, during that self-reflection stage, of me bringing up the things in my past or writing this stuff down, because I felt like those things were bothering me on a day-to-day. I felt like it was hindering me from moving forward, because I was holding myself captive or hostage to the things that I had did before in my past. And so I had to, you know, just let that stuff out and forgive myself. Like, what's done is done. I can't bring back the past. It is what it is. But I felt like, you know how like something can happen to you, and then you find that this thing is, you know, still affecting you years later. So in your mind, you're like, this thing is still affecting me now. So then that's the reason why I will go back to that time and be like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have did that, or I wish I would have did this differently, because now it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years later, and I feel like I'm still being affected by this thing. And so I just had to understand that, one, that I had the power, or was in control of my life, and that if I wanted things to be different, I had to do something differently. But I had to, one, acknowledge that it was there and be able to forgive myself for that. So that was like a part of my self-reflection, you know, going back to my past, but just, you know, really thinking about all of the things that happened going on in my life, and just started to understand certain things that made me tick, what are the things that I like to do, my interests, hobbies, passions, and all of that. So it was a whole little process that I went through as far as self-reflection or introspection. So I think it's really, really, really important that you really do that. Another thing I'll say, and I can say it's a few different things when it comes to really honing in on your self-awareness. But I think that once you understand where you are now, where you've been, where you are now, and that's what you want to have during that self-reflection, you have to understand where you are now too. But where do you want to go? And I think that that's a part of being self-aware, is what do you want out of life? And I think a lot of women tend just willy-nilly go throughout life. And that could be you know, things that maybe your parents may have taught you or did not teach you. It could be societal things, of course. Again, the American dream, right? We're told we graduate high school, we go to college, you know, get a degree, and then we're going to go and find us a good job, and we're going to work this job for 30 years. And in the midst of that, you know, we're going to buy a house, buy a car, get married, have kids, and all of that. But what do you want? Okay, so what does your future look like for you? Because we all know, if you look around, that is not what success is for everybody. Success is defined differently for everyone. And you have to determine, like, what does success look like for you? And so you making it clear or determining what you want your future to look like, you map that out for yourself. If you're saying, well, I don't want to be that person that finds some job and works this job for 30 years, like myself, I want to go into entrepreneurship. I want to build my own business. I want to do my own thing. I want the life of, or have this luxury of autonomy. I want time freedom. I want financial freedom. I want location freedom. I want to be able to work anywhere in the world. What does that look like for you? Map that out. What do you want your house to look like? What do you want? What is your dream car? Okay, do you want kids? Do you not want a kid? Do you not want kids? Do you want to be married? Do you not want to be married? If you do desire to work at a company, maybe there's been this company you want to work for. Maybe they've had, you know, great financial success for the past 100 years or whatever. And maybe it's in tech or health or whatever. And that's always been your dream job. You don't mind working for anybody, but you still want to create some autonomy. Even I see people getting into nursing. Everybody's not going the traditional route of just working at a hospital or at a doctor's office. People are doing like being travel nurses, making buku money. Like, so there's so many different ways where you can still create flexibility and freedom for yourself, but you have to define that for yourself. What does it look like for you, my darling? You cannot go throughout life determining what somebody else wants for you, because you're going to find yourself on your deathbed or old age, and you're going to have regrets, and you're going to be wishing you did something differently. And my dad actually just sent, we have a family group chat or whatever with my dad's kids, and he had sent a video of this young lady. I had already watched the video before, but it was like, I can't think of her name right now, but she like won Miss USA at some point, a little black girl. I can't think of her name. But anyway, so she had made, like, I guess she was speaking at a college or something, and she was talking about how she had, like, I guess was trying to do the pageants and all that stuff for like, I think like maybe 6 years or something before she actually won the first time. And so my dad, he sent this video, was like, you know, you all watch this video, and he was like, this is like one of my regrets. And I remember just sitting there just thinking, like, man, I don't want to be my dad. My dad is in his 60s. And, you know, and I'm just like, I truly believe that if God gives you another day on this earth, that you have the opportunity to change your life around or do something differently or do something that you've never done before. But it just still made me think that I don't want that to be me. I don't want to be in my 60s regretting life, or, you know, maybe not trying some things that I wish I would have, or doing things that I wish I would have done. And so I think that if you master self-awareness, emotional intelligence in general, but I think self-awareness is really, really important, because it allows you to understand who you are. So as you go out here into this world, whether if it's with relationships, whether if it's with your occupation or what job you want to work at, maybe it's, you know, whether if you want kids or not want kids, you know, to start a family. Maybe if it's when it comes to your health, maybe a certain size you want to be. Maybe you've always been 300 pounds your whole life, but you like, I desire to be at 200 pounds. So it's going to be 100 pounds you have to lose. Is that what you want? Because you looking at your other family members and you're like, well, hey, we all grew up big. I have all big people in my family. So, hey, I think this is just what it's meant to be. No, it may not be that. Yes, it could be a genetic thing, but you do have the power to change what your future looks like for you. So I would say those three things. Like I said, there's others that I could talk about, but really self-reflection, understanding your strengths and weaknesses, and really defining what your future looks like for you, I think will really help you. So if you have any tips, anything that you would like to share with other people, or just want to highlight what maybe your strengths and weaknesses are, what do you see your dream life being in your future, whatever that is, comment in the comment section. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.